Yeah, I mean, I'm not that cool. I'm looking at
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of In
hello.
Motion. So it's today it's October 7th, and we're going to be talking about what is fear. So that's going to be a big jump. So Halloween season, fall season, autumn. It's a great season. Honestly, I like the cool what is that 60 to 50 degree weather. It's nice chill. You get to wear your favorite sweaters. It's actually one of my favorite sweaters. It's Anthony Mark, so it's not bad, but it does the job. So recently we've been getting involved in we're trying to get involved in a couple other projects. Still a couple projects we're working under work, and we're trying to get more small businesses and just people who have a passion to want to work with general communities involved. So we're slowly getting to work at that. But as of tonight, as into the holiday season and as well as the months, we are going to be talking about what is fear and how to overcome it. And to break us off, to get us in, I have Mr. Ruben and Barry to talk about how to overcome fear.
Ruben and Barry here. Yeah, you've seen us before, and we're back, baby. And so the topic tonight is fear. And that's a little scary right there.
I know. I tripped on the way in here.
Yeah, like, wait, do I know that guy?
Let's see, empty skull. Oh, it sounds familiar.
Yeah. Oh, I know about that all.
Oh yeah, we know.
All the
We know
time.
that guy.
Like that. I'm that guy. I'm that guy. But yeah. So if you could tell us, Mitch, what is fear?
Let's see. Well, to me, I say there's a few types of fear. There's because there's to me the big one I have to say that I see the most common is definitely the fear of missing out, which it can be through social media. It can be through the missing out on activities with your friends and always feeling like you always have to be at every activity that they get invited to. Or there's the fear of a personal fear that holds you back from moving forward and taking opportunities in life. And then there's the fear that I feel like that happens throughout your day that kind of like if something happened and then like an incident, accident or something like that happens, and then because of that, when something reminds you of that, that could be another fear. So I feel like there's definitely different types of fears that throughout our lives.
Very much so. Yeah, I say so. I agree. And I think you were telling me something about before the podcast about like a scientific reason, like of what fear is, right?
Oh yeah. So on a scientific level,
Mhm.
fear is actually your brain having a chemical response to something in a way of telling your body that something is in danger and I need to react to it in some kind of way. It's a type of protection for yourself. So so one, your eye sees something and it triggers something in you saying, "Oh, this is something dangerous. I either need to fight it or I need to protect myself and get away from it."
Mm.
And I feel like on that kind of level, no, fear is again, it's a protection, natural protection for either people or animals.
You would say like it's primal.
Oh
Right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely primal. It's like it's in our nature. It's in the nature of all animals.
yeah,
Fear is, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say like top three, but really, it's
yeah,
like it's the one thing in like nature that keeps so many animals species alive is fear.
yeah,
Like we're, of course, we're human beings, right? And like of course we fear things, but we have our own like, well, we're like the one species on earth that with the advanced technologies and
yeah,
so on, we have so much knowledge of everything that we know of. And but animals, they live to, they eat, they live, they die, they breed and so on, and they don't have all this knowledge that we have.
yeah.
They
So
just
that's
go
why
off of
when they
instinct.
see something that they're not familiar with,
Mhm.
they're one they sniff, they try to observe it first.
Mhm.
Then if it's something that they don't trust, that's when they decide, all right, should I fear this or should I fight it?
Yeah, usually it's based on experience, but
Yeah,
from a lot of animals, it's actually instinct. Like
yeah,
it's like even if maybe if they're not necessarily taught by their parents, or whoever they were
they're
bred,
yeah.
they were bred, whoever that was like breeding them or like I guess parenting them. I don't know.
I guess it depends if they're wild or
Yeah,
raised, but yeah,
nature, nurture. There's that whole conversation with that, but I think like fear really stems from basically your experience in life with everything. Like when you're born, you know,
Yeah.
you don't really have fears. I would say like babies, they like. I'm not sure. I can't say babies don't really fear things, right?
Well, no. Well, for babies, it doesn't matter. They're in the time of their lives where everything is all through experience.
Mhm.
When they touch something and how their body reacts to it through touch, smell, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, I feel, but that's where as you grow up, that's where phobias come from, because a lot of phobias usually come from an experience that happened, and because of that, like I said, it's memory related,
Yeah.
and you see it, and what happens is you see the thing that you have a fear of, and that triggers a memory of, oh, I remember when this happened, and now every time that something of like that reminds you of it, you have a fear of it now.
Yeah.
But and a lot of people say the best way to overcome a fear, obviously, you have to face it, and that's not always the easiest thing, but that's one of the solutions that people suggest. There's other solutions like get hypnotized and stuff like that.
Hypnosis. Yeah.
But again, a phobia is another level of fear where, like I said, it's experience and memory triggered, and you know, and it could prevent people from taking up opportunities. It can prevent people in a moment. Like, it affects their lives.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
like with animals, human beings, we have our fears.
Yeah.
We develop them over time based on our experience about what we live through and so on. And I feel like I get there's so many examples of like what we fear. It's like sometimes little things, sometimes it's actual phobias, like stuff
Yeah.
that like like people are afraid of clowns. That's something
Yeah.
that's a very basic phobia. But then there's very more personal like things like stuff that makes you anxious, gives you anxiety, and anxiety and fear
I-
they really kind of go hand in hand a lot of the times. And
I want to say the most interesting fear, at least the one that I had, is the fear of darkness, because that is
Mm,
so fears like that. Um, I don't really know how to explain them, but that one I think is more imagination related, where it's something that you can't see, but just the thought of the possibility of something that you can't see, being there, and that's the thing that you're fearing.
yeah.
I think they explained it. It's the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's interesting actually now I think about it, like when we're kids, there are certain
Yeah.
things that we will get afraid of. And it's fear of the unknown. Like when we
Yeah.
watch like when you're watching a movie, like a horror movie, if you got a kid like a little kid watches a horror movie, it can really scare them to death. Like they were
Yeah.
could traumatize them.
But again, that's where it creates the imagination of monsters and
Mhm.
scary things in the dark, or
Yeah.
wherever they imagine that scary thing can be, like their closet, under the bed, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, that's like you said, the fear. It's related to the fear of unknown, and it's all in the category of the fear of darkness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's interesting because you get that fear of the unknown, the imaginary stuff.
Yeah.
But then they got fear of the known.
Yeah.
Like, from as we get older, we fear more.
That's when the
things.
anxiety comes from.
Anxiety,
Yeah.
adulting is another
Yeah.
phrase, and there's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of pressure that's put on us from all corners of
Well,
our
that's the
lives.
opposite spectrum. That's overthinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that, and like when I remember when I was a kid, I was afraid of the dark, and I had a little nightlight, and I was afraid to go
Yeah.
go to bed in my room alone in the dark. And over time, I grew out of that. It wasn't really like a concern for me anymore because because the imaginary
So
for me
Yeah.
went away, and because I knew that in the dark there's nothing to be afraid of.
So the interesting thing that helped me get over it, because I was 17, not gonna lie, but
Don't lie about that.
no, I'm saying because I studied TV, and I learned about no, I saw the videos of like the actors behind stage and then put on the makeup and stuff.
Mhm.
I learned the knowledge the knowledge I put into wisdom of, all right, the people in costumes, monsters aren't real, they're just actors in costumes, and using that as my knowledge of why am I scared of people in costumes,
Mhm.
kind of helped me overcome my fear of darkness.
Yeah, I mean, you could I think that
Yeah.
stems from when we went to college. We had
Yeah.
haunted theater at Brookdale.
Yeah, I went from being a 6-year-old scared of everything, I couldn't go on any scary rides, to the person who now does the acting in those scary
and
things.
then you know where they're gonna do the scares, how they're gonna do it, and we did that.
Yeah,
and,
we learned the behind the
and
scenes
I
stuff.
would say like it has affected me with going to haunted houses or like when you walk through and you think it's the boo. But
Yeah.
just the other day I went to a place called the Field of Terror in East Windsor,
Oh, all right.
and I could have been scared more, but I had that experience of working behind the scenes, so I know how they work.
Yeah, we got a little bougie with it in
So
a
we
way
have
where
the insider information, like okay, they're gonna come from around here, they're gonna probably sneak up behind,
yeah.
forward, and so you know all
Yeah,
that.
so that's the thing. Like because we worked in it, we have to. At least for me, I kind of rate them as I'm walking through. If they can scare me as I walk through, I'm like, all right, that was impressive, that was good. And then,
Yeah.
and then if they're just standing there going, "Ah," I'm like, come on, put some effort in it.
It really depends. So, like for example, I'm going through the haunted thing.
Yeah.
Sure, they have a bunch of stuff there: hayride, haunted house, so on. I'm going through. And I'm looking. Oh, they're gonna see the person over there. They're gonna do it. Oh wait, they're gonna come around the corner.
Well,
But
it's close. We also know there's the tactic of the person that distracts you and then the person that scares you. Now, if they can do that well, and they scare me, I'll be like, all right, that was good, that was impressive. But no,
yeah,
you
so
get some credit for that stuff.
yeah, there's so like there's a few times where they actually did get me,
Yeah.
and I did scream once. Maybe twice, maybe. But yeah, it's not even when you're looking at them. It's when they're like behind you. You can't
Yeah.
see them. And you hear like a loud.
That's always the best tactic.
Because sometimes, again, the fear of the unknown, not seeing
Yeah.
what's there, sometimes is the scariest. Like, and a good example of what happened was there's a chick guy with a chainsaw, because there's always a guy with a chainsaw when you walk through or at the end.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I knew it was
At Haunted
coming.
Theater, we know those guys.
I know, like chainsaw sounds like when they're like close to you like that so loud, it scares the hell out of me. I'm like, I want to run.
Well, that's the thing. So at Six Flags, I saw a guy who was doing it way too much.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not scary. But that's the thing. So loud objects in general, no matter what it is if you that's why you can't do it too much if you're using it to scare someone. You have to do it you have to space it out so that way people hear it's quiet. They don't expect it. And then you do right there, loud enough where they can hear it. That's the thing that scares them.
Yep.
But when you're doing it too much and you're constantly doing it like every 30 seconds, no.
I agree.
That's what it takes the fear away.
Yeah.
Of it. It's just annoying then.
Yeah. So like, I remember walking in, like near the end, I can smell the gasoline from the chainsaw and like it's gonna come. But yet it happens. I'm like, oh crap. And I start running. I actually start booking it. My friend, I accidentally tripped her and she fell behind and she accused me of abandoning her and betraying her. I'm like, no, I thought you were right behind me. And then when she dropped her phone and the guy with the chainsaw was holding the phone like this with the chainsaw on the other hand. And I braved it. I walked over. Hi, I'll take that. Thank you. Yeah, and see, like I know that the chainsaw is, it's real, but they take the chain off, so they're not gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
But yet the sound and the darkness and the character.
Like I said, it's because it's going from quiet to loud. That's the thing that gets us.
Yeah, it really is. But then they're chasing after you. Like they could accidentally hurt you, so you are running.
Yeah.
As a response, like you don't want to get hurt.
No.
Even if it's real or not.
Well, yeah, as an actor, we know we have to be careful of how we move in, not to accidentally hit people.
Yeah, but get back to what you were saying about the spacing out the sound.
Yeah.
There was the I think my favorite walkthrough was the cornfields at this place. They have a cornfield. There's like sections where you go through these little buildings where they scare you.
I don't think I've been through one of those yet, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, as like a scare.
Mm-hmm. And then the cornfield, they don't do much scaring. They don't have people way out in the cornfields, at least when I went. But the atmosphere of the cornfield at night, creepy as hell.
Oh yeah.
The suspense of it was
Well,
killer.
Well, one, yeah, because the height of it blocks the light. So yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't too high, but it was still scary.
No, but still, like how
Yeah.
the way that it's designed, it makes it so that way. One, if the light goes there, it overcasts on the top of it.
Yeah.
Below it gets dark, and sometimes it makes it hard to see around the corners.
Yeah. It's just like the cornfields, man. Just like anything can pop out.
Yeah. Well, depending on the type of corn. If it's just a walk through cornfield,
Yeah.
boring. But occasionally, yeah, they do have people hiding in the corners.
Yeah. You just kind of have to listen. Wait, I hear something. And that I was like on edge, like, wait, what was that? There you go. You didn't get me there, Aaron. Maybe next time. But yeah. So yeah, the Field Terror, it was fun. But I'll say the most terrifying thing was the goats. But that's a whole nother story.
Now, if you go to Six Flags, the most terrifying thing is
The petting
the
zoo with the goats.
No, I'm
It's a
saying,
it's a whole nother
I'm saying, you
story.
go to Six Flags. The most terrifying thing is the price.
Mhm.
No, okay, no, they do. I haven't been to their nighttime stuff yet, no.
Yeah.
so I can't really say anything about it yet.
I gotta find some new venues, but I do want to go back to the Field of Terror in East Windsor. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Give them free advertising. Hey,
I heard it
hey,
was
guys.
great.
It was good, wasn't it? You should go. Are you gonna go, Aaron?
do it,
Do it.
do it.
Yeah. So with fear, yeah. So you got that kind of stuff where you do it for fun, and then in life we have the fear, our own like personal fears of things, anxieties, and they say that the best way to face it, I mean, to deal with it is to face it.
Yeah.
Usually head on, and like something they say, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer, or to use that fear you have.
That's why I go to the beach.
And
No, because I used to be. I wouldn't say fear, but I wasn't. I didn't have enough confidence to face tall waves. Waves are fine, but when the waves got too tall, I'm not the best swimmer, so I'll usually stay at the ocean. But then a friend of mine, she taught me how to face the ocean, face the waves in a way where I can swim under them instead of trying to swim over them, and that helps me be able to stay in the water longer.
Okay.
So in a way, that was me facing my fear for the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really swim either, and I do have a fear of drowning sometimes. If I'm in like in the deep end of a
I
pool.
drowned a few times as a kid, so I was also part of the reason too.
Yeah, but what I do is, I like to say, fake it till you make it, because I'll just fake swim and I just paddle myself as hard as I can, and like you get that adrenaline, like oh my god. But I'm like, as long as I'm just doing this like this as fast and hard as I can, I will not go under.
That's what boogie boards are for.
Yeah, I try to get those. What do you call them? The noodles.
Oh yeah. Well, not in the ocean.
2, 3. Well, in the pool.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 of them. I'll wear 4 of them. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
Wait, can you swim?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm a fake swimmer.
Okay.
See, I learned a little bit, but it didn't stick. Just like Spanish class.
I could doggy paddle.
So like there was some recent stuff in my life where I realized I had to make some changes, and a lot of times I feel like because I've hesitated to do things, I've had my own like anxieties and fears, and I started I realized yesterday that like you know what, I gotta like take this stuff more head on, and be a little more assertive and to be more direct, because I feel like hesitating, having my fears of doing certain things and not facing certain other people, so to say, not to say any names, but just to face everything more head on. And I feel like that's a good policy with fear. Face your fears head on, and I feel like you can cope better with them.
Yeah.
Like a good example, I don't have necessarily fear, but I mentioned on here before. Sometimes if I'm not comfortable with somebody or if they're upsetting me,
it's a confrontation.
Yeah, if they're confrontational, I don't look at them in the eye.
Yeah.
So I tried to make eye contact whenever I can. It's a little hard for me sometimes, but So, you got a question for us, Aaron?
It's not really a question, but I kind of wanted to bounce off what you were saying about like being comfortable and doing something when you don't feel comfortable exactly around that person.
Yeah.
So it's not more like, so for me, it's like, you ever heard of the idea of like, it's like, okay, you had a relationship, what certain ties are. And like, so sometimes to me, it feels like, to somebody else that I'd be like ignoring them or like just not paying attention. And that's not entirely the case.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I know it, but like, it's like, I'm in the field where I just don't want to get pulled back into the same situation. Like, so you went through a situation and it's like, okay, what's going to be like. It might have been toxic or just might have just gave you a bad vibe. And it's like, and it's harder to feel that, especially if you're in the same place. Like if it's a coworker, you got to be with them 5 days a week. You just constantly be with them, or you're doing a certain project, you constantly be with them, or worse, you're living at home with them, you got to constantly be with them. And it's like, you're looking for that, to keep your at peace, so to speak. You're at peace, but like, at the same time, the person you feel uncomfortable with, you're around them multiple times. So for me, it's like I don't necessarily, speak to him about, just general things,
Mhm.
but it's more like you have to speak to him if you have to speak to him if it's important matters.
Mhm.
And it's explaining this because it's a difficult situation because like, say if you're living together, you got to talk about, who's splitting the rent, finances, and you're on the same job together.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, now you got to talk about this because, they're in that position of responsibilities and you're in your position of responsibilities and you have to talk to connect, but you're not really like friends or like comfortable with each other, but you have to talk to each other in order to get certain things done. And then there's just that factor you're just working on an outside project and the only way to make that happen is like, okay, you gotta make sure this person is doing their part. So my point is what I'm trying to say is that, this is the part where you have to overcome. And now I'm talking more as an overcoming aspect. Is that you have to overcome the aspects like something has to get done. So now you just gotta jump out of your zone, whether you're just generally just stubborn or you're just generally just not as comfortable talking with this person. And most of the cases, that's probably what it is. And it's not really I'm sorry, this is not technically talking about fear. It's just more about overcoming at this point. Just trying to really jump out of that position to know that this is what you have to do this. So sometimes you have to get out of that comfort zone, get out of that shell.
Mhm.
And it's a type of fear because most people just don't want to just jump out and speak out. It's like, but sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to. So I'm speaking more is that when you have to do something, you have to do something.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that when it comes to that, it's like, okay, this ain't talking. This ain't just about being afraid of the monster in your closet or afraid about the man across the street. I mean, that man across the street, he's the man across the street.
Yeah.
If he's scary or not, then that's your opinion. But my point is, you have to do what you have to do, and there's some things you might be very uncomfortable with, but in order to really achieve what you have to do, you just gotta know. It's just like a thing you gotta know how it goes, and that's a process itself. So I'm just kind of more speaking on the overcoming process. So if that doesn't make any sense to you, I would love to hear your explanation.
Yeah. Well, I know going back to like you said, monsters. Sometimes one of the monsters in our lives can be that one that we see in the mirror. Sometimes
Mhm.
it could be there be something that happened recently in the past, and it's something that we're trying to overcome. And sometimes, at least for me, I had a moment where I looked in the mirror and I I started not to recognize myself, and it bothered me because I didn't know because who I saw reminded me of what I was going through, and made it hard for me to even look at myself sometimes.
Mhm.
Or another way a person can be a monster to themselves is that getting stuck in your own head, and those thoughts that this follow us sometimes, and we start overthinking, and then we think this is happening, that's happening, and for that reason I feel like sometimes it may be a good idea to confront someone, either talk to them about what you're going through or talk to the person that you need to confront with, but sometimes that might be the solution. And but at the same time I also learned that sometimes that's not always going to be the solution. Sometimes you can have a talk with someone, but then you just have to walk away and let it be. And you can't fix everything, and you have to be okay with that. Sometimes it
Mhm.
hurt. It's not easy, but some things in our lives we do have to let go.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. And I've been thinking about this a lot. There's like a life I'm dedicated to a lot of the stuff that I do. I try to do my best and get the job done and try to make I know you can't make everybody happy,
Yeah,
and
no,
I
it's impossible. It's
that's impossible.
Yeah,
However,
It's a lot of work.
yeah,
yeah, I strive to be. To be honest, I like to be a people pleaser, and I know again you can't please everybody, but I mean I do have I guess a personal fear of mine of disappointing the people around me.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Trust me.
And like, cause I try to be like that guy that they can look to, like, hey, he's a great guy. He's a hard worker. He does, you know, he does a good job of whatever he does.
Yeah.
And he's a talented dude, and like we like being around that guy. But like, you know, sometimes I find myself like, even though I put in the effort, I sometimes get grief from certain people, like them not doing a
Yeah.
good enough job. And so then, you know, I try again. I keep going at it, but yet then they find more things to criticize, and I'm not one to not take
Yeah.
constructive criticism, but then they come at me and they don't approach it a certain way, and it just gives me more anxiety. And you know, it's lately it's like I've been doing a lot of stuff and trying to get things done and doing my best, and a lot of pressure was put on me from certain parties, and just I'm like, and then I realized that, you know, I even though I'm doing my best, I could do better, and I, I'm not going to please everybody, and I know, and that's going to bother me sometimes, but I'm going to keep moving forward, and I got to be more direct, and I got to be a little more assertive. Uh, Hopefully, I don't go again. It's a fear of mine too. I don't want to push myself too far to be so assertive that people think I'm conceited or, you know, arrogant or
Yeah.
like a bully. And so it's like I always say, it's about balance, and I try to balance everything. Not always easy,
Yeah.
but you know, and like I fear certain things will happen if I don't do this and that, but it's all part of the process of living, and I'm still learning
Yeah.
about it.
Well, I definitely see when people are people pleasers or have that kind of nature,
Hmm.
it's always tied to a person of loyalty. And like I said, they're loyal. They want to be helpful. They want to be there for the people because they generally care about them.
Hmm.
But sometimes it comes to the point where we care too much for them and not enough for our own mental health, and it again it affects us in that kind of way where we're putting our side our own needs and stuff like that to the side too much, and that's where it starts becoming less helpful and for on both ends because it's not helping them and it's not helping yourself.
I'm guilty as charged on that
Yeah.
for sure. I feel like, especially the last several years, getting out of high school, I find myself definitely putting other people's interest before mine in a lot of ways. I mean, I try to do my stuff, but at the
Mm.
same time, I'm always trying to help out and be like, you know, some people ask me for help every once in a while, and I try to give them help, and I'm always the, even though like certain things don't may not sit right with me about it, in some varying degrees, but I'm always an optimist, and
Yeah.
I always I try to look for the best in people, and it's gotten harder and harder, but I fight on to keep it, you know, keep being an optimist, even if the world
Yeah.
wants me to be to sort of make me a pessimist through, you know, their own little agendas, like from different parties and so, but you know, again, that's you know, that's a
Yeah.
fear.
I know for me,
And
the one thing I had to do was I had to learn when I had to stop helping certain people
mm,
because I I I see that no, my help wasn't really helping them,
mm,
and I had to walk away from them and I had to let them go because it was coming to a point where it was coming more toxic than it was becoming me helping them.
yeah, I was in a similar situation earlier this year where I was helping somebody out in a really big way with their lives. They had some really like big problems in their life, and yeah, and I understood they were in a bad position, and that, and of course, I know, to me, I know that if I stopped helping them at any given point, they could, like, metaphorically collapse
Mm,
into, like, they'll spiral down out of control, and they won't be able to be saved. It was pretty dire, honestly, and I helped them for a long time. I helped them for months and months, and then after a while, I realized, like, the amount of help I've been giving them, like I've given all I could, but after a while, they kind of they stay there. They
mm.
kind of they become dependent on you, and then it becomes too much
Well,
sometimes,
I've
and then
yeah.
then the fear of, like,
The way I see it is,
you know,
sometimes we're meant to help, but we're not meant to save them.
True. I
Yeah.
feel like, I mean, I do feel like I've saved this person
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, but after a while, they was just like their need for my help was too much.
Mm.
I mean, which is difficult for me to say, but it was true, and I
Mhm.
had to. I'll say I had to cut ties, but I cut ties at a point where I knew that they would be in good hands.
Just don't cut my ties because I need them for a wedding.
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, I helped them out, and I did cut ties, but I did it at a point where I believed that they would be all right, and I stand by that. And I really hope if they're still out there and they're doing okay, I hope everything's going well.
Mhm.
And it's a fear of mine that to think, did they make it along after I helped them? Have they moved
Yeah.
on? And you know,
At least me personally, like there are people I'm not friends with anymore, but I still do care about them, and I do every now and then they'll come to my mind, and
mm,
I'll say a prayer about them, or because I always feel like if they're on your heart, they're there for a reason. So I always pay attention to that.
yeah. I can't say that I'm like the person I was just speaking about.
Yeah.
I can't say that I look on them and like in any fonding way too much because they're way
Yeah.
what it did become.
Like I don't hate them, just at the
Yeah.
same time, I wouldn't personally go back to being in a friendship because it didn't work out. But
Yeah, because that person that I was helping, they were just
yeah,
they got they just they kind of crossed the line, honestly.
yeah,
And I had to pull the plug, and like I said, and I feared that
sorry, funny thought.
not helping, if I stopped helping, it would be a problem. And that's what kept me going.
Yeah,
The fear of them knowing that if I stop, they will suffer.
yeah,
And that's why I kept doing it. But then after a while, I made the choice. I put that fear aside and I said enough was enough. I wish you the best of luck. God bless.
that's all, folks.
Exactly. You got anything else for us, Aaron? For this for the topic of fear and to overcome?
I fear not.
Any final comments?
I mean, no. Well, I mean, final comments. I definitely there's a lot that that need to be said. It was definitely
It is a big topic.
well. I mean, it was something to put in the mixture.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys definitely just took everything, threw it in a pot, threw it in the witch's pot, and just stirred all the potions.
We made
together.
that witchy soup, didn't we? Right for
There's
the
actually
season.
something called witchy soup, and
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Witchy soup.
Oh, nice.
So
That's
a
looked
friend
it
of
up.
mine, they're having like a Halloween party, and they're doing everything. Every food they make is basically Halloween thing. Werewolf beef, vampire punch. Then they got
Pumpkin
something called,
spice?
witchy stew.
Pumpkin spice witch soup.
You know what? I can advertise it out there, but there's always something in the mixture. I swear to God. Someone says candy corn
Blackbird.
juice, that I'm just like,
Isn't like a blackbird pie or something like that?
Oh, there's a black bear. No.
No, I think it was
Black
I
beard?
think no blackbird. I think it was like a nursery rhyme or something. It's about like birds in a pie.
Birds in a pie. Yeah, I think that's like a nursery rhyme where
Yeah,
it like
I just remember reading it somewhere
Yeah.
as a kid. But yeah,
All right.
No. So basically, what I'm saying is that it's like, okay, so you guys,
that
they
cricket got really
poured-
loud when I said that joke.
or
you guys poured everything in and just like said exactly what he's been like. You guys went in deep. Like, I swear to God. I mean, I was kind of like, I was on one chapter, and then I was like, so I kind of thought I was in the library for a second.
Ooh.
So I was like,
Hey,
Hey, we're
I don't
professors,
really like to go to
man.
the library often, but like, you know what?
I don't
I've
mustache
been
too.
kinda-
But
my point is I've been trying to read a little bit more and just trying to like, just be in my own little space every once in a while. So you know what? It's always good to have some time to yourself. And so when I'm coming to the occasion is that fear is basically something, it is a part of your life. And the reason it's a part of your life is because it's like that one thing you ever heard, with great power comes great responsibility. And I'm gonna
why does that sound familiar?
I'm gonna explain it. Explain it. So basically, that being said, it's like fear basically tells you, okay, this is a lot, this is what's coming, and you know what? This is what's gonna be really, really heavy. And I mean that in mentally. I mean, there's physical matters, but you guys probably already know that.
Absolutely. Mhm.
But so my thing is, with that is like you really gotta know that. Okay, you ever heard if you're afraid of something, you probably should do it.
Mm.
You probably should. But I mean, most people say, no, I don't want to do that. But it basically, because you know what? You never learn anything the easy way. We always want to do easy, but you know what? There's never anything that comes with doing it. Because you never know, like, first of all, building a house. Building a house.
Okay.
It's easy, right? Building is it easy or is it hard?
Can't say. I mean,
No, no.
no, I don't think.
I've seen those blueprints, so that's not easy.
Oh, those blueprints. Oh yeah, I've seen those blueprints. I'm like, no.
Yeah. When you see the results of after it's done, after like months,
Yeah.
it's cool, right? Cool.
See, like we see the workers, they do their stuff and they make it look easy. Then we do it like I can't do that.
They're knee deep into that kind of stuff, you know.
So my point is, they have the fear of possibly falling off, busting around, or uncontrollable vehicles, or maybe a bobby splinter, a little baby splinter that's going to ruin their day. They have a lot of things that can happen. Like, you don't know what's going on under those hard hats of theirs. You don't know what's going on under there. Like, there's a lot.
Yeah.
You have something to say?
No, I was just gonna say I never heard of Bobby Splinter before.
He meant to say baby splinter, but it came out.
Baby.
It became but apparently the baby's name is Bobby. So.
Does that sound like
No. I was doing that more of like a bobby pin, but I was just trying to find splinter. And
Oh,
bobby pin
you-
together.
all right.
I was thinking the future,
You
like,
made up a word.
All right.
Okay. Bobby. Strip on the Bobby. I thought it was Australian.
I thought maybe.
Bobby, that's gonna
I
start
thought maybe.
being
I thought
character
maybe. I thought maybe he just named the splinter. I don't know.
Yeah, my bad. But yeah, so yeah, fear. Run towards fear, man.
now. So
You'll do better off. Be better off.
yeah, so like, run towards fear, but like know that fear is only what you make of it.
Yeah. It's
Because,
always there.
You
I
can
don't
be your enemy, or you could use it as an ally.
I don't know. When I see that flickering light in the hallway in a haunted house, I'm like, no.
Nope.
No, like no. I'm talking like abandoned building. Like if it's a real abandoned building, I'm like, the light is flickering and it's dark right behind it. I'm not going that direction. Let's go this way.
I've
See,
seen many movies. my
movie
friend.
logic, movie logic. I know it. But if I know it's like a haunted house or something, you don't have a choice. You have to walk forward because usually how they map it out. You go towards it. Unfortunately, movie logic doesn't work in those kind of things.
Make sure you go to the one that they don't grab you if you're that type of fear. And that's the one you.
Oh, you mean like haunted theater going on next weekend? Yeah.
Oh, next
Oh yeah,
weekend.
yeah. That's right. So on the theater, guys, actually starts next weekend.
At
Thursday,
Brookdale
October.
Community College.
All right. No.
Yeah, like you said, Aaron, Holland Theater, Brookdale Community College. We basically became acquainted there at Brookdale
Oh yeah.
doing haunted theater.
I've been doing
And
it for
we
10
started
years, and
this-
then I met these people. Yeah.
Yeah, you met us there, and they're starting this weekend, right, Aaron?
They're starting the
Next-
weekend of October 11th. That's the
Yeah.
next
So
weekend.
next weekend.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
this
thought since we're like a Brookdale alum, we figured we'd give them a little shout out. So you should check it out if you're here locally in Monmouth County and in New Jersey, and you want to go out and have a good time. Brookdale Community College turns their entire performing arts center into a haunted house attraction. You walk through, get scared, run away,
Some
maybe
people.
face your fears if you want to.
Some people
I
even
don't
before they
care.
get
Whatever you
in.
want to do. I think that's all we have for tonight, right, guys?
Yeah.
Alright.
We don't really too much to say about that yet.
Yeah,
so.
fear is it's out there, it's everywhere, but sometimes we got to face it. We just got to live with it sometimes, and it makes us what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, makes us better people. For the most part, I think that unless fear actually makes you somebody, I don't know.
I don't know. I watch too many horror movies to have here sometimes. I think.
So it was good having you guys today, and we got actually like a few people lined up coming like guests to bring on to our show soon. One's like a local boy who might want who seems really cool to talk to. Hoping to get him on. But we also have a musician that we like to bring on who would like to promote his single, I think his album. He mentioned that he just produced or is promoting out there. So he's again a local guy, and we're hoping to bring him on. He seems really cool, and we gotta get that into the works, get that set up.
And a real life alien, matter of space. No,
Halloween time.
no.
Until
All right,
then,
never mind. I've been
guys,
told that one wasn't
What's-
true.
Until then, guys, I hope you have a good night. And
I'm gonna add one more thing.
One more
before
thing,
we, decide to close out. So as my boys here mentioned, next week will be haunted theater. it started in Harlem Theater. October 12th, we will actually be going down there. We'll do, we'll be doing a little bit of a little shout out with some of our favorite actors. It's actually, as they said, it's where we all met. It's how I became friends with these nice, fine looking gentlemen. And, basically kind of be like, this is what's going on. This was happening in Monmouth County. We got ourselves involved with networking groups. We're trying to make a good in our community. We're trying to be lively, and then we're trying to be like, okay, so as a community, we're trying to be wholesome, good, and we're trying to, what you can do by yourself is what you can do by yourself. What you can do as a community really has a whole nother good meaning.
Teamwork is dream work.
As we always say. Always emotional.
So, like I said, so we're trying to get about a couple people on the show. We got October 14th, 12th, 21st. So we got a couple people lined up. So we're hoping to, anyone else who wants to speak about their passion or just want to really, get their business out of there, small businesses, any fundraisers, local good causes. I know there's a lot of cancer awareness going on this month, so I'm looking to get involved with some of that myself. So, this is Emotion, and we are going to keep Emotion, going to keep getting stronger, better, and you know what? We're hovering off the ground, but we're going to be
Yes,
soaring.
we are.
So this is what we got for you guys tonight. So hope you guys can overcome your fear, and you know what? With great power comes great responsibility. I'm pretty sure you have better things to say, guys.
Thank you, Peter Parker. All right.
I knew thee well. Ciao, everyone.
What? Just like